I know the screen is black. Yep, it's one of these videos where the screen is going to be black. But I have to say, it literally is the first thing that I say. Otherwise, people will complain in the comments. Oh, the screen's black. The video's broken. No, it's black because it's a podcasty type episode today. Apologies for the delay in getting stuff. I was just stressed and many things on at the minute. But we actually went flying for the first time, what's probably going to be the only time this year, on the 9th of September. Now, at this rate, this is probably going to come out on the 9th of October, but, again, I have tried recording this twice. The first one I got interrupted in the middle of, and the second one I tried to record on my phone, and not only did it, in the end, it turned out to sound terrible, but also it got interrupted with an alarm halfway through, and I didn't realise, so I didn't record the second half. So that's great. But yes, we went flying on the 9th of September. We had quite a number of planes in the van. And I ended up flying 4 things of my own. There was a bit of a running sort of problem that you'll see as we go through. My dad flew 2 planes. One of them, the aileron arm came off. Landed it all right. It was a big ultimate. That was fine. But the other one, due to running out of battery, the battery itself is fine, but it just ran out of battery, and it tip stalled right at the end and crashed. But we'll get into that towards the end. So the first thing I flew was my Flying Giants Extra 300. So that is the same as the Extra 300 LX from Hobby King, which is now back in the UK and Europe, which is fantastic news, especially for, as I say, as we'll get on to a bit, some of the problems that we've had. It'll be a lot cheaper to buy stuff from Hobby King now. So, took off, basically went up like a 45-degree angle, then went to go straight up, and it was absolutely gutless, to the point where the motor basically, complete battery knackered. Turned it around, came in, landed it. Now, the battery was at 100% before I put it in, but we don't do storage charge, which has now changed due to the issues. But yeah, because of the storage charge, even though it was at 100%, one of the cells had quite high internal resistance, and I will do a video at a future date on how to check the resistance of batteries and things like that through something from Hobby King, which is good because you can now actually get it again. Anyway, yes, so there was no problem. It landed well. First time I'd flown in over a year. Landed it by my feet. Fine. I then put together and flew my Extreme Flight Extra 60-inch 6S 5000. Took off, flew it around, did a few Cuban 8s, was doing sort of some precise aerobatics, 4-point rolls and things like that, sort of getting back into the spirit of actually flying something. And then I go into a Harrier, and I bring it down a Harrier, and as I sort of do the downwind leg, left to right. Actually, no, that's kind of... Anyway, I'm going left to right in a Harrier. I bring it then so it's coming towards me, but far on my right. And then as I start to bring it round back to bring it past me, and I start to apply more power to stop the descent that it was in, I realised that I went too full throttle and the motor didn't speed up any. And it hit the ground fairly hard. And it knocked out the undercarriage, the plate, because it's just bolts. When it's knocked the undercarriage out, it's actually also knocked some of the formwork out inside. And this plane has one spat on it, and of course that one spat poked a hole in the wing, very annoyingly. So, yes, this wasn't particularly going very well. I then went to Old Faithful, and I flew the AXN Cloud Flutter. I love that plane. I did some touch and goes with it, which, of course, with it being a belly-lander, is interesting. In fact, my dad launched it, didn't do a very good job. It touched the ground. It's like, oh, full power, full up, and it came back up again. So yeah, that's what inspired some of the touch and goes and other sort of messing around with it having such a light camera system and being so light. It flies quite well. I remember the first AXN I had, I didn't like very much because, to be honest with you, I broke it very early on by flying through trees. And compared to something like a Bixler, the foam isn't very strong. So, when putting it back together, it was just, the front end was always floppy and not very good, and it had much more, even though it was just a normal camera and video transmitter, that weighs a lot more than the 5 grams of the combined little tiny one I've got sat on the front. My phone is locked, so I flew that. And that flew fine. Strangely, that those really tired old, like £6 Turnigy 2200 3Ss were fine. But yeah, that was fine. And I decided after that went fine, I thought, oh, we might be on a bit of a winning thing. I did decide to fly the Great White Shark from DW or DF Hobby, DAW Hobby maybe. I can't remember. Search on the channel for White Shark and you'll find the build videos and find out who it's made by and the specs of the stuff in it. So yeah, it's kind of like a mini Crosswind. It's a twin. Have the full build series on the channel. Was bought by my lovely girlfriend, not for last Christmas but the Christmas before. So that was another thing. I was like, oh, if I don't fly it today, it's going to be 2 Christmases since she bought it me before I flown it. Unfortunately, I did forget to turn on the HD camera. It will have been on, but I just didn't press record. And it was I really enjoyed it. It was a mixture of being a little bit twitchy because it had a lot of movement, and also being a little bit heavy because I put in one of the 8000 4S LiPo batteries, the green multi-star ones. I think I'm going to limit that model to 5000. It can take 8 if you really want to, but yeah. So it covered nearly 25 kilometers, in fact over 25 kilometers, I think, on 2,800 milliamp hours of battery. That's total flight, not distance. I didn't go out for 25 kilometers and then come back. That was the total flight mileage, if you like. So yeah, so about 2,800 milliamps. It did 25 nearly kilometers. Cruise mode is interesting because now, essentially what cruise mode does is it keeps you at the height and speed that you enable it at. Maybe not speed, the speed might be in 9nav. But that was very easy because that was a different experience because, first of all, I was very concerned with the throttle and the elevator didn't work. But no, you can use the rudder and the ailerons, obviously, to steer the plane around. It'll sort of carry on and do whatever you want. So it was a relaxing way to get places, to look at things like that. I wasn't 100% impressed with the video quality in terms of it broke up quite easily, but to be fair, it has one of those tiny little cloverleaf things that you can bury in the wings. I'm not sure if that's causing problems or not, but we'll keep persevering with it. And I didn't really go very far because after all the disasters we'd had so far during this day, I didn't want to overdo it. And since flying the AXN, that's when Dad broke his subartemis wind. So I was a bit like, oh, but I decided, no, let's do it, let's go. The two things one thing that I did do is I did accidentally disarm it. And luckily, all I had to do, I was panicking. Luckily, I was fairly close when I depowered it, but I was still thinking, I'm not going to make it to the patch or the runway. Because you just wouldn't go in. But what I figured I hadn't done is I hadn't flicked it out of cruise mode, which is classed as a GPS guidance mode, and then it will arm. I watched a Pennis 360 video. It came out like the day or so after I flew it, about setting up an easy arm thing where basically you set up some logic conditions. So if the plane is flying, if it senses it's moving at more than 5 meters a second, it will forego all the normal checks it does when you're on the ground and just arm you. It doesn't care. So I'll have a look at doing that. The other thing I need to do is the OSD. It's a little bit cluttered. I'm going to try and remove some of the stuff out of it. Also, I accidentally put airspeed on there like an idiot when it doesn't have an airspeed sensor, so I just had a question mark sat there. So yeah, it needs some slight rejigging, but otherwise that's like in the fleet and ready to be used and can be moved as such in the spreadsheet. But yeah, that's the fly log, a simple video. Probably the next video you're going to see will be how to test if batteries are good or not. Show you the equipment used for that, and we'll go through a bunch of batteries. We shall create a spreadsheet and see how much it's going to cost for us to do repairs. I did do some rough like what batteries do I actually need, and essentially I need some cheapo 3S. I need 3S2200s, which are getting about 7 or 8 quid. On Hobby King now, they're back. I do need some better 3S at some point for the night vision air, but honestly, I kind of think I'd rather sell that, because I can't fly my night stuff on the field near my house anymore, because they always have stuff on now. It's a pain in the ass, constantly blaring music out till 11 o'clock at night. So I can't do that. And to be honest with you, I wanted a smallish plane for flying at night. I'd probably get the Flex Innovations Yak. So yeah, and then I needed 4S 2200s high C rating for EF Extra and other sort of similar models, because I'm eventually going to get my FPV Funjet up and running, and that might run on 4S to begin with. So we've got that. I also need larger 4Ss, for example, for the Flying Giants Extra. That had a 3300 4S, but it always used to only fly for 5 minutes, and the battery was getting quite puffy. So instead of getting a higher C rating and sticking with that capacity, I think I'm just going to get 4S 5000, because I do use that for other things. I think hopefully a lot of my lower C rating, lighter ones will still work. And then I need some 6S 5000s. Again, all my 6S 5000s might be alright, but I need to double check them, and we'll do that as part of the video. And all the ones that I am deleting, or binning even, will help me take what I need, whether I still need them batteries or not. For example, there's loads for the little Hobby King Yak 55s I used to have. We don't really have any of them, so we can get rid of them. But yeah, that's going to be it. I'll see you soon. I don't know when that video is going to be. I'll do them as soon as I can. I know I was trying to go back to doing videos a week, but I've just simply not had the time to do it. It's just impossible at the moment. But yeah, thank you all for watching. I'll see you all in the next one. Bye bye.